I've just showed you guys her deep throating the fuck out of an ass lolly. So, as you guys have seen, I've uncovered news on the Whatever podcast before. You know, I've always like spoken highly of it, as in, you know, they're pretty based. They push against degeneracy. You know, they shame OnlyFans girls and girls that are girls that are in porn. However, I think Whatever podcasts are some of the biggest hypocrites out there. And Brian, I'm calling you out. Now, I'll tell you why I'm calling Brian Atlas out. Because he goes against porn actresses, goes against OnlyFans girls, yeah, and calls out the whole degeneracy. However, he's got a girl who works for him on his podcast, literally deep throating an ice lolly. And the first time I saw this, I thought this girl was just part of the panel. I thought she was a guest and, you know, she had an ice lolly. She's an OnlyFans girl maybe, and that's what she's doing, right? And then I see the same girl like 3 weeks later, and I'm like, oh shit, she must work there, right? She must just be part of the panel, like she works with Brian Atlas. And she did it again. And here's a clip of her doing exactly what I'm talking about. She gets an ice lolly out and she starts deep throating the fuck out of it while her big tits are on the camera as well. Brian, are you sexualizing your podcast to bring in more viewers? Are you just the same as an OnlyFans girl? Are you a hypocrite, Brian? You know, I've called you out for being a hypocrite before because you claim to be traditional and you want a traditional woman, but you wouldn't even put your life on the line for your woman, which honestly shows me, one, you're a weak male, you know, definitely a beater, but also shows me that you're far from traditional. Anyway, here is the clip of this girl literally deep throating the fuck out of an ice lolly. And as she's doing it, guys, she's literally staring at the camera.
So at what point does okay, let's say you're the main provider for your family and you're on the Titanic. And I know if I die on the Titanic, just by virtue of my death, that's going to be extremely alarming to my wife. Let's say I have kids, I have parents, I have siblings. That's going to be really hurtful to them. And then let's say I'm the main provider too. My children are going to grow up potentially in poverty.
I can see her looking at the other girls, struggling. She's probably thinking, oh, I look like a whore right now.
I don't know if the trade-off of, wow, my family is going to be like, wow, he was so honorable. Like, I'm looking at it from,
come on, bro.
I don't know if it's more of a utilitarian perspective. Me remaining alive is going to serve a greater purpose to my family. It's going to avoid the...
I get your point.
It's going to avoid the pain and suffering that they deal with as it relates to just my death.
We'll
and then, like, I'm going to be gone, can't provide for my kids and family.
Look at that, bro. How deep down your throat do you want to put it?
Like the exchange would be, but if I do die and all those bad things also happen,
and do you know what?
They will
even
feel
like
a sense of like,
at the
wow, my father
like
died with honor. Fuck honor.
Like I said before, Brian, Whatever podcast, some of the biggest hypocrites on the internet. Prove me wrong. And going with that, Andrew Wilson is the only guy that when I do watch a Whatever podcast, he has to be on. If Andrew Wilson's not on the Whatever podcast, it's literally trash. Even this week, they had this guy on it, you know, Warren guy, but...
I'm going to survive. I'm going to do what it takes to survive for
looks
my
like a weasel
family.
if you want me to be honest.
But that's why they're not checking, okay, how indispensable are you to your family before we let you on this boat?
But you know what? He had
better
points
upper class, middle class, poor.
Anyway.
All the men do the same thing.
I've just showed you guys her deep throating the fuck out of an ice lolly.
What we do. Well, I would just reject that.
We have to.
We have
Whatever
to.
podcast.
Why do we have to?
Going back to Brigadier Nicholson. What's the right move?
All right,
but cool. I think it's unfair to say.
All right, cool. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you want to watch more clips like that, click here. Or if you want to watch the full stream, click here.